Hi everybody, this is Kaiju, and today I'll be doing a top 10 video, the first in this channel, and today I'll be talking about something a little different. Today I'll be discussing about my top 10 prehistoric battles that undoubtedly occurred. So let's get started with this list, with number 10, that being Protoceratops versus Velociraptor. Now, it is already known without a doubt that both these creatures actually did indeed fight. How do we know that? Well, because in the Gobi Desert, which is located in Mongolia, there was a fossil that basically depicted Velociraptor attacking a Protoceratops and vice versa. And it looks like it was a pretty even match. The Velociraptor, I believe, was in the ground, hesitating to get up, while the Protoceratops was biting his leg. But the Velociraptor, I believe he was scratching the Protoceratops abdomen area, I believe. I'm not really sure, I forgot. But yeah, it looks like it was a very gruesome fight, and it looks like that's exactly how they died. So without a doubt, this battle occurred. And this battle could obviously occur because Velociraptor wants to eat some food. Now, who would I think will win between Protoceratops and Velociraptor? Now, Velociraptor, they hunt in gangs. So, I'll say that the Velociraptor will win. But Protoceratops, even though he was the size of a sheep, or it was the size of a sheep, and it didn't have any horns, it was very, very aggressive, just like a bull. So that's number 10. Number 9 is the Short-Faced Bear versus the American lion / cave lion. Now, these two creatures are found in North America, and they most likely did indeed fight because they lived in the same area, and because there was some lions in a very deep cave that are normally not supposed to be there. Now, why did this happen? Most likely because this lion fought with the short-faced bear, and probably the bear actually threw the lion into a cave, which is a very sad and very gruesome death. Now, the short-faced bear is bigger than your average grizzly bear. It was obviously bigger than a human being, which makes it even more terrorizing. And the lion was also bigger than a regular tiger, or lion. So that's number 9. Also, I forgot to mention, who do they think will win? I honestly think the short-faced bear will win, just because of its size and its strength. So now let's get to number 8. Number 8 is Spinosaurus versus Circus. These two animals lived in Africa in the Cretaceous period, late or early, somewhere around there. These two creatures are obviously aquatic, and they most likely fought mainly because Spinosaurus hunted for fish in the lakes and whatever, but Sargos also lived in those lakes, so they most likely confronted each other. Now, who do I think will win? Now, Spinosaurus has large claws, and the teeth aren't that well specialized to really kill a animal super fast, while the Sarcosuchus is a little more sluggish, but still the teeth are very dangerous. Whenever your head gets into those teeth, and you're basically doomed. So with this one, I'm not really sure. So let's get to number 7. Number 7 is Giganotosaurus versus Argentinosaurus. Now, it's the giant dinosaurs. Giganotosaurus is not the biggest dinosaur, but still it's a very colossal dinosaur, and Argentinosaurus is obviously the biggest dinosaur that has ever existed yet. Now, they obviously fought because Giganotosaurus needs some food. Now, to see who wins, if one Giganotosaurus is fighting against an adult male Argentinosaurus, then the Argentinosaurus will win. But most likely, the Giganotosaurus hunted juveniles, which obviously meant that the juveniles would die. But if it was just a standoff, a big male Giganotosaurus and a big male Argentinosaurus, then the Argentinosaurus will win because of its brute strength and also because of that whiplash style of a tail. So that's number 7. Number 6 is Gojirasaurus versus Circus. These most likely did indeed fight each other, mainly because, well, maybe Gojirasaurus had a meal that Circus wanted, and so they'll fight about it. Or, yeah. Now, Circus is a dinosaur, I think. I'm not really sure. I think it's considered a dinosaur. It's more like a reptilian, like a crocodilian kind of thing. So I'm not really sure if it's a dinosaur. I forgot, but Gojirasaurus is definitely a dinosaur. And Gojirasaurus is used to being the king in that area, since that's why it was called Gojirasaurus, since it was the biggest in that specific area. But with Circus coming along in that same area and being bigger than him, or if not smaller than him, I think they were the same size, I believe, not really sure. But yeah, it will definitely be a battle to the death. Now, I honestly do not know who will win in this battle either. So that's number 6. Number 5 is the traditional T-Rex versus Triceratops. Now, obviously they'll fight because T-Rex wants some food, obviously. Now, obviously these did fight because there's a bunch of marks in the Triceratops crest, or whatever you want to call it. You know, there's been some tooth marks in it, which most likely belong to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And also there has been some specimens of Triceratops that have lost their horns, which is mostly caused by the T-Rex, most likely. Now, I honestly think that the horns weren't used too much as a weapon. They were mostly used, you know, for engagement with other, you know, Triceratops, such as females and stuff like that. Or maybe, you know, it can, like, tell another Triceratops if it's a little baby, if it's a young adult, or if it's an adult. So I honestly don't think the spikes or the horns from Triceratops actually were for fighting. So ultimately, I think Tyrannosaurus Rex will win. So that's number 5. Number 4 is Allosaurus versus, oh my god, it says versus Stegosaurus. Ooh, this will probably oh my god, this will probably be a very gruesome battle, especially with those spiky protrusions the Stegosaurus has in his tail, and plus the Allosaurus has brute strength and all those teeth and all that stuff. And obviously these two would indeed fight because they live in the same area, and Allosaurus wants some food to eat. Now, who do they think will win in this battle? Now, Stegosaurus, I believe his brain was the size of a walnut, so not that was a Patasaurus. I forgot. I'm pretty sure that was Stegosaurus. So I'm guessing Stegosaurus was a kind of clumsy-ish kind of dinosaur. So, but the spikes. Allosaurus has to be very agile and quick and very smart to, get out of the way out of those spikes. He has to, be like jumping around and all that stuff. I mean, it's very possible that the Allosaurus could get his foot stuck in one of those spikes and boom, he's dead for sure. So on this one, I'm not really sure who will win exactly. So that's number 4. Number 3 is Smilodon versus Stegosaurus. Now these mammalian creatures would definitely fight. These saber-tooth would definitely fight, mainly because Smilodon was the king of North America and Titanoboa was the king of South America. But there was actually a land bridge that occurred that connected North America and South America, and so the Smilodons actually migrated to South America, which then caused Smilodon versus Titanoboa to fight. Now, who do I think will win? Titanoboa was a kind of a dumb brute, a little. I mean, it mostly had, aggressivity instead of the brains, while Smilodon did indeed have the brains and was also very powerful. So on this one, I think Smilodon will win, just because of the brains. So that's number 3. Number 2 is Taurosaurus versus Epanterius. Sorry if I did not pronounce Epanterius correctly. That's just how I like to pronounce it. Now, Epanterius and Taurosaurus are basically the same size. Maybe Epanterius might be a little bit bigger, not really sure. But yes, they live in the same area. and most likely they'll, fight for food and for territory as well. Who do I think will win in this one? Now, Taurosaurus Epanterius, they look very remarkably similar, but Epanterius is a tiny bit bigger, just by, I don't know, a few inches, maybe somewhere around there. Out of these, oh god, this is pretty hard. Honestly, maybe Epanterius might win, but I'm not really sure. Size does not always matter. So for this one as well, I do not know who will win. Now, number one. But before we get into that, let's talk about my honorable mentions. My first one is called Carbonemus versus Titanoboa, which is basically a giant turtle versus a 50-foot snake. Now the turtle is actually 6 feet wide, or yeah. So, be kind of, it might surprise you guys that I even have him as my honorable mentions. It might be a little obvious who will win, but the thing with Carbonemus is that he can even eat, or it can even eat crocodiles. That's how powerful its jaw is. It can, go through all that rough skin of a crocodile and just chomp it to death. So that's why it may be a somewhat of a gruesome battle, but at the end of the day, I think Titanoboa will win by constricting the Carbonemus. So that's one of the honorable mentions. And the other honorable mention is Utahraptor versus Iguanodon. And it's kind of obvious who will win, and that is Utahraptor because it hunted in packs and because of the sickle claw. So that's all for my honorable mentions. And let's get back into my list. Number one is Megalodon versus Leviathan. Excuse me. Now, these two marine creatures, the 50-foot, 50-ton sperm whale versus the 50-foot, 50-ton Megalodon, they were evenly matched. The Megalodon has a brute force. Once he chomps on your skin or whatever, then you're basically doomed and you should say goodbye to the world. While Leviathan was ginormous, a giant sperm whale, can possibly do echolocation, which could indeed inflict damage into the Megalodon, and also had the brain, so it can move somewhat fast, not as fast as Megalodon, but still. Ooh, this is very tough. Very, very tough. I possibly think the Megalodon will win, but I'm not really sure. So, as my final verdict, I'm not really sure who will win this one either. But that's basically all for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and please comment down below which prehistoric battle do you think occurred that is not in this list, and also tell me which of these battles that I mentioned do you really want to see, like real life. But that's basically all for this video. Subscribe, like, and comment. This is Kaiju signing out.